President Trump will address the nation tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, and one of the topics he's not expected to tackle in the State of the Union is impeachment. Tomorrow, the Senate will likely acquit the president. One Democrat weighing whether or not to clear the president is Alabama Senator Doug Jones. He faces re-election in the deep red state this fall. Republican Congressman Mike Rogers represents Alabama's 3rd District. He's also the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee, and he joins us now. Senator, thank you very much for joining us, sir. If Senator Jones decides, Congressman, if Senator Jones decides to vote in favor of acquittal, will that make it easier for him to win re-election?
It'll make it a little easier, but it's still going to be a real uphill battle in Alabama, particularly given that he was elected in a special election with nobody on the ticket in December, and we had one of the worst possible candidate nominees that you could have politically. This time he's going to be on the ballot with all the other elected officials in the state, but more importantly, President Trump will be on the ballot. He has the highest favorable ratings in Alabama of any state in the union. And more importantly, we have the highest straight ticket voting percentage of any state in the union. So he's got a daunting challenge ahead of him, no matter how he votes.
So Jeff Sessions, Tommy Tuberville, and your colleague Bradley Byrne are among those seeking the Republican nominee for that Senate seat. Is there someone that you're endorsing in this election?
I've contributed to Bradley Byrne. I love Jeff Sessions together, and Tommy's one of my constituents. We can't go wrong with any of them, but I personally endorsed and supported Bradley Byrne. But I'll support whoever the nominee is wholeheartedly.
Congressman, I want to turn to impeachment. We know Democratic Senator Joe Manchin floated the idea of censuring the president for his actions. And some of your Republican colleagues in the Senate have called his actions inappropriate, even if not impeachable. Do you believe that the president should be censured?
No, I don't at all. And I understand that some of them are looking for some safe middle ground politically over there. But this was a silly exercise from the beginning. We should not have wasted time on it. Nancy Pelosi said that from the beginning. It was the left wing of her conference that forced her to go here. Otherwise, she would have gone the way of John Boehner and been thrown overboard. That's the only reason we went through this exercise. The president did nothing illegal, nothing improper. You can question not whether it was in good taste, but it certainly did not warrant using impeachment as a political weapon, a partisan political weapon.
Our country is so divided. Some people might say it's probably one of the biggest national security issues at this point. How do you suggest you bridge that divide at this point?
It really has to start with leadership in both the House and Senate leadership. We have to have our leaders, both Kevin McCarthy on our side and Nancy Pelosi on their side, start endorsing initiatives for us to work across party lines. The same thing's got to happen in the Senate between McConnell and his counterpart, the minority leader. The problem is they don't want the other side to get credit for anything, and they push us into our respective corners. It's not healthy for this country. We need to be working in a bipartisan fashion. That should start with our leadership, and I urge them to do just that.
Is there something you can do personally?
I work very well with my counterparts on both the Homeland Security and Armed Services Committee, and it's worked very effectively on Armed Services. For example, the Space Force was my proposal, and I worked very tightly with Jim Cooper, my ranking member, and then Adam Smith, the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, and Mac Thornberry, all completely bipartisan for 5 years. We were pushing this before President Trump ever heard of it. And we now have the six branches of the military has been signed into law, and it's done. It was completely bipartisan. It's a big deal, and that's the way things should be done.
You know, as we mentioned, you're the ranking member of the Homeland Security Committee. What national security issues do you want the president to highlight tonight in the State of the Union?
From a national security, Homeland Security standpoint, I would like for him to talk about both cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. They are growing threats, and we have a real shortage of workforce to take those on. I hope he'll mention the fact that we as a nation have to start turning more attention to developing the resources to combat cybersecurity threats as well as AI threats.
I want to get your take on the situation in Iowa with voting issues. You mentioned cybersecurity threat. That wasn't an issue in Iowa. But some people are looking at technology. As more and more states are looking at the use of technology, what would your advice be, especially seeing what happened in Iowa?
Go slow and go small. You should start those kind of applications, that kind of technology, in a city council race or a county commission race. and make sure you get the bugs out before you do it at statewide level on an international stage. The world was watching last night. It was such an embarrassment. That's the thing I would urge people to do. Go slow and go small before you go big.
Congressman Mike Rogers of Alabama, thank you, sir, for joining us.
Glad to be with you.